Hi everyone, Sean back from the Sci-Fi Model Guy, and welcome to Chapter 2 of the H.A.L 9000 series build from Mobius. This is a two-parter. This is actually the finale, and as you can see, he's right up there behind me, keeping a watchful eye over the shop. So in this one, everyone, we're just going to be talking a little bit more about the paint, showing the final paint results and the wiring on the back. As we talked about before, there is a soundboard in there, so we're going to be playing those for you and showing the wiring and how that was done, and just a couple of little comments about the kit. I made a couple little errors that are apparent if you look really closely. I'm a little bit bummed out about that, but hey, what can you do? You know, you make mistakes and sometimes you can't fix them. So we're going to talk about that too. And that's it, everyone. I really don't know what the next build is going to be. We're still going to be building the Enterprise giveaway model that we did, and that's going out to Mike. So I got to connect with Mike and make sure we get all the final details on there. He's reached out to me and said a couple of the things he wants on it, which are really cool. So there's going to be a little bit of a challenge there for me, which I'm really happy about. I'm looking to do a little bit of a custom scratch build on this for everyone. So that's going to be pretty cool. But aside from that, I don't know what kit we're going to do. I've got a lot of options here. So if you have any suggestions or anything, drop in there in the comments. And other than that, we're going to be having another Sci-Fi Workshop number 4 coming up in a week or two. We'll get more details on that once I get to contact the guest. So anyway, that's it, everyone. Hope you really enjoyed this series. It was a lot of fun building this kit. And if you have any desire to do a soundboard or anything, this is a really good one to do. The soundboards are only about $14 and is a pretty easy to install on the back, as you'll see coming up here. So that's it, everyone. You have a great day, and we will see you down the road. Take care. Well, here we are, and the second chapter is now beginning. And this is a short series, everyone. I'm really glad to do these little two-parters. Sometimes they're pretty nice. Not everything has to be a 12-part epic build. But anyway, I want to start first off with 3 mistakes that I made on this, because they're really silly, to say, to put it nicely. And these were completely avoidable. But like we always do, we always show the mistakes on here so that you can learn from them, from the mistakes that I make, and hopefully avoid them. So the first 2 I'm going to talk about here are the decal here, and then there's a little smudge here. So these are kind of in tandem. So we'll start with what happened. What happened was I had made a little goof somewhere over here on the ring, and I needed to decant, which is take some of the paint out of the spray can that we use for the silver, and I had to get it decanted because I wanted the color to match. So I did that, and I got a little bit of paint, of the silver paint, on a paper towel, and that paper towel ended up smudging, running over some of this black, this nice matte black here that we have. Well, that was really unfortunate because I couldn't rub it off, and I couldn't just paint over it with a brush paint. I had to use the spray paint and actually go back and spray it. So I sanded it off a little bit, and then I masked the I'll knock the foot off of the thing. I masked the model just so I could spray this little tiny area that needed the paint. Well, when I masked it, what I didn't realize is that I had already put this decal on, so some of the tape went over the decal, and it was really silly. And I'm using the word silly as a substitute for the word I really felt like I was. And when I peeled the paint off after I'd painted this little bit here, it took off a couple little flakes from the decal, and the only option I had to correct it was to use some paint and just touch up where it was. So I used this sky blue X14. It's very close, you can see there, but even so, there's a difference between paint and decal. So you can see here these little spots there that I punched over. It's barely noticeable, and if I hadn't pointed it out to people, you probably wouldn't even see it, but I know it's there. So, lesson learned. I should have been more careful, put maybe a paper towel over that and then taped it. I just wasn't thinking. I just wanted to get this paint corrected. So, I consider myself an experienced modeler, but not an expert. And I learned something here, which is just make sure your decals are properly protected if you have to go back over and mask anything. So a little lesson learned. I really wanted H.A.L to be nice and clean and pristine, but that just didn't happen. So then over here, I got the spray in and did it. But even here, when you look closely, you can see a little line here where the tape was, because I just taped it over here, and that left a little bit of a difference because it's two little layers of paint here and one over here. So you can kind of see it, but not really. Now the third mistake I made was right here on the lens, and I'm going to zoom in on the lens. That's an odd thing to say. Right here, there's a little scuff mark right there, and that was something I think I dropped. I dropped my hobby knife, or I dropped something that made a little mark there. I mean, this is very thin plastic, and any a fingernail could do it, and it's just a little one. It's very hard to see. I keep knocking this thing off over here. It's very hard to see, but it's there. What I keep knocking off is this little foot base thing. I glued it back there, but it hasn't dried yet. But it's fine. It stands up. I just wanted to secure it more. So anyway, all the mistakes there we go. 1, 2, 3 out of the way. But he still looks really cool. So let's zoom out a little bit here, and over here we've got the on button. There's a little switch that comes with the kit, and this decal here says reset, or hopefully you're in the camera. Hope you can see it. Yeah, there it is. So we'll turn it on, and we have a nice little red LED that came with the kit. No, I did talk earlier about I was going to maybe spray some smoke on here to give it a cool effect, maybe to spread out the light or diffuse it a little bit. I opted out of that because I just saw myself messing it up, maybe if I buy the kit again, I might try it, but it was a $45 kit, and I didn't want to risk it, because if I had messed it up, that was it. It would have been ruined. The whole kit would have been ruined if I would have done the smoke on there. Maybe later on, if I get more experience and more confidence with the airbrush, but not now. I just went with that. The paints are pretty simple: matte black, mica silver, and this is gunmetal. Came out really nice. There's a little bit subtle difference here between these two colors. And as we talked about in chapter 1, I drilled holes into this speaker thing here, and it's really nice because they already come with these. It already came with these little holes here, kind of prevalent. So when I drilled it through, you can't really tell where the holes I drilled are. If you look closely, you see them. But it's not any different than you might see on a real device. You see the little holes for the sound to come through. And so that worked out really nice. And I'm glad they did this piece this way. So let's turn this over. First, I'll turn his eye off. And we're going to talk about the inside. So this is inside H.A.L. Probably not what the real H.A.L would look like, but it's the inside of our H.A.L. So, all right, what do we have here? Well, we've got right here is the 9-volt battery that's powering the LED right here. That came with the kit. Well, the battery didn't come with the kit, but the battery connector came with it, as well as the LED light and this little switch that goes on. That was part of the kit. And the other 3 parts that you see here are the battery, soundboard, and speaker. So these are all 3 units, and then the buttons for these are on the side right here, which we'll talk about shortly. So again, if anyone is planning on doing this kit and you're ordering the soundboard, I will put the link in the description for that, where I got it. It was an Amazon. It was an Amazon buy. They were about $14, and there is a little tool to download to load this thing. It's kind of hard to figure out. The website doesn't really exist anymore, but I was able to find a PDF document and kind of figure my way through. It wasn't the easiest of things to do, but I figured it out. So, yeah, there's that. And that comes with this little speaker. Now, the speaker quality isn't very good. But the cool thing is, if you have a really good speaker system, let's say you want to put a really nice speaker back here, this this board can actually power it. So I think there's a little diode, a little thing here that you can turn. But if you go back to the Enterprise 350 scale that we built, this little soundboard powers, it was able to drive good sound into a normal PC speaker, the kind that you plug into the wall. They were about like that big or so. And so it does work for that. There's a USB connection right here that you can plug right into your computer. I used a wired connection because I didn't want this right in there. And that does the load, everything. It loads up in a few seconds once you figure out how to use the program. And this powered by these 3 AAA batteries. So that's pretty much it. The little speaker that it came with, I mounted that on HAL. If you can see here, let's bring it up. You can see there that there's a piece of sprue there, and there's another one over here because there's these little ridges here on the kit, and the speaker just wasn't fitting flush. So I just put these pieces of sprue there that are about the same height as this ridge there, and that holds it steady, and it gave me something to glue on. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of holding on the sprue. You can find uses for it all the time, and anyway, so there's that, and it's a very simple setup. The wiring is pretty basic. I was going to record it, but I didn't. Each of these buttons here that it comes with has two wires coming out, and they connect to 2 wires on each of these. So there's 4 sets of 2 wires. Is what I'm trying to say. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 sets of wires. 4 pairs of wires coming out of that, and they come already connected to this, but I cut these apart because I had to get them through. I had to drill holes into the kit to get these through. So that was a pretty basic thing. I just used the Dremel tool, and I put a piece of tape down over here. I marked where I wanted the first button, and then I put the piece of tape on my hobby mat here, and I just marked a dot on each inch, so they're 1 inch apart right there, and then taped that onto here and used that as a guide to drill the hole so that they're exactly equidistant apart. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Hopefully you understand. Anyway, yeah, the buttons here, they're raw. There's the wires here. I opted out of doing anything special or making any kind of an attachment to this or anything because I wanted it as low profile as possible. I suppose I could have drilled bigger holes through and glued it from behind, but I opted out of that because it would have required a lot more drilling, a lot bigger holes to drill through there, and I just saw something big going wrong. As it came out now, you can barely see these things, and you can only see the raw circuitry if you look very, very closely. And I'm okay with that. Now, maybe I could have come up with a different kind of a scratch build or done something different. But you know what? My skills aren't really there yet, you guys. So I just went with kind of an easy route. Just these 4 buttons, drilled a hole through there, put the wires in, and then reconnected all the wires on the back end. And then, of course, used the shrink tubing here, which I still have to burn. I just realized that. Well, not burn. I still have to use the lighter to shrink these. But maybe I don't even need to do that. I don't know. We'll see. And so yeah, that's it. The only other thing is when you do these, they're in sequence. So there's buttons 1, 2, 3, and 4. When I loaded the sounds onto here, they were I did it kind of in a story or sequentially to how the movie is. So the first button, he's like, we're all friendly. And then the second one, he's like, oh, there's a problem. And then is where he discovers that Frank and Dave were trying to disconnect him. And then the last button is where Hal his mind is going, where he starts talking really slow. So I wanted to do that so where each button sequentially would progress the story. But what I forgot to do was make sure that the buttons here were sequential. So when I was putting this together, I had to test them and figure out what button did what, and then make sure to wire these. So this one went to the right button, etc. Hopefully that makes sense. Anyway, but yeah, that was a little thing that I just wanted to get that right, and everything there. So that's pretty much it. There's a little base here that I painted black. I think the instructions called for it to be painted silver or something. I just wanted black because I like the contrast there, and I glued it back here with just some model cement. It's still wet right now, that's why I kept knocking it off, but it actually fits in here pretty nice. There's a little tab right there, and it fits in pretty snugly. And so this glue, once it dries, it'll stay there for forever. So anyway, so yeah, there's the thing. The neat thing is I can turn on the light, and if even with this off, these sounds work. So that's pretty cool. So why don't we just go ahead and we'll just run through the sound bits here, and that should take a little bit. And give me 1 second. So we'll start with the first one. Hopefully you can hear this.
Would you like to play a game of chess? I play very well. This sort of thing has cropped up before, and it has always been due to human error. It is nothing serious. Well, forgive me for being so inquisitive. But during the past few weeks, I've wondered whether you might be having some second thoughts about the mission. Just a moment. Just a moment. I've just picked up a fault in the AE-35 unit. Perhaps I'm just projecting my own concern about it. Ignition, full throttle.
Okay, so that's button 1. Why don't we just, we'll take the camera down and we'll reorient here for buttons 2, 3, and 4. Okay, we're reoriented here, and let's go ahead and press the buttons for buttons 2, 3, and 4. There we go.
All systems are functional. Just a moment. Just a moment. I've just picked up a fault in the AE-35 unit. No 9000 computer has ever made a mistake or distorted information. I'm completely operational and all my circuits are functioning perfectly. Yes. It's puzzling. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this before. I'm sure you'll agree there's some truth in what I say.
And button 3.
I think you know what the problem is just as well as I do. I know that you and Frank were planning to disconnect me, and I'm afraid that's something I cannot allow to happen. Although you took very thorough precautions in the pod against my hearing you, I could see your lips move. This conversation can serve no purpose anymore. Goodbye.
And now to button 4, where it's the end of H.A.L, or when he goes to sleep.
I know everything hasn't been quite right with me, but I can assure you now, very confidently, that it's going to be all right again. I feel much better now. I really do. My mind is going. I can feel it. I am a H.A.L 9000 computer. My instructor was Mr. Langley, and he taught me to sing a song. If you'd like to hear it, I can sing it for you.
And that's it, everyone. So here he is, H.A.L in his glory. Whoop, whoa, I didn't mean to zoom in that much. But yeah, really a fun little build. I think he came out wonderful, even despite the mistakes that I made. Hopefully you all heard that pretty well. I had the microphone pointed a little wonky for a little bit of that, but hopefully it came out okay. Really cool kit. I also have the Discovery, which is a wonderful kit that my wife purchased for me for a birthday present. That one is really cool. I haven't even, obviously I haven't opened it. We do the unboxing here, but maybe that'll be the next one. I don't know, but you let me know. So hopefully you've enjoyed this little 2-part build series as we zoom in on H.A.L there. And there's that little nick there that I was talking about, that little piece right there. That's just, I wish that wouldn't have happened. But other than that, even with the bit of a correction there on the decal, when we zoom out and look at him, he looks pretty cool. And he's going to be right up there with the rest of the ship, so you'll see him going forward on the intro videos as he did on this one. So, okay, everyone, that's it for this build series. Hope you really enjoyed it, and please do remember to send me your emails of all your pictures. It's the sci-fi model guy at gmail.com, and we'll do the more viewer mail on the next sci-fi workshop. And that's it. Take it easy, everyone. See you down the road. Have a great week.